What is up, everybody? Welcome to Booze and Biz. It's a Thursday. We're going live. We're all over the internet right now. I just started the show, so nobody's live. So I'm going to say some things for you guys listening at home on the podcast or the YouTube channel. So today we're going to do story time, which is how I started a Christmas light business. It's a fun little story I've told many times, and I get enjoyment out of. I'm thinking Christmas lights, heavy right now. I know it's not even September, but this is when I like to double down, get ready, and just get all engaged in Christmas lights so I can have everything set up to go crush the season. I also have my Christmas lights trainings actually start next week. So we have on September 2nd, we have Orlando. The 4th is Chicago. The 6th is Vegas. Then I take a week off. And then on Tuesday, the 17th is Dallas, and Thursday, the 19th is Houston. It's $100 to reserve your seat, and then $700 due when you get there. You can pay cash, you can pay check. That's obviously what I appreciate because everybody hates credit card fees. Hello. But yeah, I'll take a card too. It's not that big of a deal. But anyways, so I wanted to talk a little bit of Christmas lights. It's kind of what almost all of my lives have been. Actually, probably all of my lives have been about Christmas lights in the last few weeks, but that's just kind of what my brain is on. And I'm actually proud to low-key announce that Foam Daddy, represented today on my shirt. Where's it at? There we go. Foam Daddy. I suck. Let me do that again. There we go. Is actually going to be sponsoring. So lunch is going to be brought to you by Foam Daddy, and we'll have some Foam Daddy swag there. And you can ask any questions about foam parties, whether you're coming to the trainings or if you want to do it on this stream. That is all good. So you guys can ask questions. Oh, I got to get the comments up. I don't even have them up. Oh, and I didn't start the Instagram, dude. I always suck at that. Hold on. Let me get Instagram in here. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, we are now live on Instagram as well. So all of you guys can ask your questions. It's going to be a badass little story, and then we're going to obviously open up to Q&A. I got to kind of keep it a little bit tight. I have a family arrangement, so we probably got to be under an hour, and under an hour that's really tight for me because I like to chat and talk and do my thing. So anyways, I'm drinking out of my jump off cup. It's got a little QR code that I made that's probably too small. Sometimes it scans, sometimes it doesn't. But, promotional materials. You live and you learn. I got a whole fucking box of these. I hope the QR code scans. Anyways, let's get rolling. All right, we got 11 people live, so we'll get the real show rolling. So for all of you guys that are live now, what is up? This is Booze and Biz. Today I'm going to do story time. So it is how I got into being a professional Christmas light installer. It is a goofy story. It's kind of a fun story. And who would have known that my life would go down this rabbit hole of Christmas lights to the degree that it has? When this whole thing started, I never, ever, 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 ever would have thought it did. I was actually trying to be a real estate agent at the time, but we're going to get rolling. So here we go. Oh, over on Instagram, Jordan just said he's at Lowe's right now. Just spent $1,200 on ladders. What is up with that? You got what did you get? The 24-foot extension, the 32-foot extension, and the little giant 24-footer with the leveler legs? That should be about 1,200. I don't know. Let me know, Jordan, if that's bought. Let's see. All right, let's get going. I'm going to get going into my story. You guys jam your comments in, jam your feedback in of my story. Let me know what you think. And then, of course, ask your questions. I love questions. I love answering them all. So let's go. All right, I got some notes here so I can kind of stay on track. The reason I've took notes of this is because I wanted to try and keep as accurate as possible. What I mean by that is I've told this story so many times, I'm scared that it's getting embellished. So I'm trying to be as real as possible here. So this is the real story. So without further ado, here we go. It is story time with Nick Glassett. Okay, so how did I get started being a professional Christmas light installer? It all started out with me being a mega novice Christmas light installer, okay? So here's what happened. I had quit my job in September. It was actually September 10th of 2019. I quit my job to go be an entrepreneur. I didn't really have any businesses. Now, the jump off did exist at the time, but it was 2 inflatables. I had a 1 dyno bounce house that Blaine's actually cleaning right now. What up, Blaine? Or just finished cleaning. You just rolled it? Yeah. Every time I see it, it warms my heart. And then we had like a 30-ish, 28-foot slip and slide that was blue, single lane slip and slide. And so I was just trying to figure out how to start a business and grow a business. I had no interest in growing an inflatable business to the point that is at now. I also had no idea that Christmas lights was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, right? I was actually trying to be a real estate agent only because I needed something to do to kind of bring in some money to the family. Cause I went from 6 figures to $0 with a family and a mortgage, 2 kids. So one of them was like 1. I think Brody was 1. And so I was doing everything I could to just kind of bring in money. And so I was walking back from the bus stop with my next door neighbor, Lori. And at this time, everybody was giving me ideas, right? I can go clean solar panels. I can go start a pressure washing business. I could, right? Everybody's bringing me all these ideas of all these things I could do to kind of start these businesses because it was kind of like well known, right? That I was trying to be an entrepreneur. Just my passion, whatever. I just loved business. I wanted to work for myself. So she says, I bet people would pay you to hang Christmas lights because we were talking about how it's always a pain in the ass for her to get her husband to hang the Christmas lights. And I kind of laughed, right? Because I was like, yeah, me too. Like Michelle always has to harp on me. I finally hang them. I do a shitty job. They look terrible. I actually was going to buy the little Grinch cutout that like is pulling them off the top part of the house so I could just put them on the low part and it looked like the Grinch was stealing them. So I didn't put them on the top part because I hated putting up Christmas lights. And so, anyways, she said, I bet people would pay you to put up Christmas lights. And I was like, huh, that's an interesting idea. So I went inside, I did this much research. And what I found out is that, holy shit, that's actually a thing. That's actually a thing that people do is put up Christmas lights for money. So I did, if I remember right, I did some research that day and kind of saw that there was like this expensive version. And I was like, nobody's going to freaking pay me, $7, $8 a foot, dude. Cause I kind of like mapped out my own house and what it would cost. And I was like, that's not real. So I decided to go make some Facebook marketplace posts. And I did it in a very strategic way, but I went and made some Facebook marketplace posts that I would just come show up and hang your Christmas lights. I probably posted on my personal page or whatever you call that. And lo and behold, all of a sudden I have leads. And it's unreal. So I'm going to kind of skip forward to a little bit of a part here. I'm going to skip over the inflatable part. So if you guys want to read the inflatable part of this story, I ended up what I called, I won the bounce house lottery. You can go read that. That blog post is probably up on the jumpoffstore.com. I'm not 100% sure. Should have been a little more prepared, but I'm going to skip over that part. Right. So anyways, I went and did an in-person consultation because I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't even have a car. When I quit Journeys, I had to give them back their Journeys car, obviously. And so I didn't have a personal car. So I didn't even have a vehicle. And I really didn't even have a ladder. Like I had this little teeny ladder that was like, dude, if it was 8 feet, I'd be surprised. And so I went and did this in-person consultation. I'm out there with a tape measure trying to figure things out with graph paper and shit. And I got another lead. And she said, I just want them in the bushes. And so I went and did that in-person consultation and she kind of showed me what she wanted. And I was like, bushes, that's so fucking easy. So anyways, I give her a price, right? I said $150. And then I went there and did this $150 job of putting all these lights in the bushes. And I screwed it up thoroughly. I was blowing fuses left and right. I was using her lights. Some shit was burnt out, whatever. But I was like, whatever, dude, I just made $150. And then that other one that I went and did where I had the tape measure was measuring the house. Boom, they hired me too. Big job. I had no idea what I was doing. They went and bought all these lights from Home Depot, and I don't remember what they paid me. It was not enough, but it was like $300. I made the house look great. It took me hours, right? And so basically what started to ensue after that as I was posting that is I was getting more and more and more leads. And so that year, what I did was I borrowed my dad's truck and I borrowed my buddy John's ladder, and I went around and started putting up Christmas lights at these houses, right? And so the biggest one that I did that year was $450. The house is not treacherous at all. We still do our house, and we do professional lights on our house now. But her name's Miss Debbie. But I remember taking a picture of where the roof comes down, and then the next level is where the entryway. And I had to get up on the roof, and I thought I was such a fearless monster for just getting on this roof. I thought it was so intense. Anyways, things kind of go well, right? So I'm like, well, I can't just keep borrowing John's ladder. So I went and bought my own. That's when I bought my first little giant ladder, the 22 foot little giant ladder. And I keep installing Christmas lights. So that year, I think I made like $2,600, something like that. To 12 clients, 10 clients, 15 clients, something like that. I was way undercharging, right? But I didn't start until really close to Thanksgiving. I was really, really late. And I was like, holy shit, I just made $2,000 installing Christmas lights. I can't believe that just worked. So then the next year, is 2020, COVID happens, right? We all know those stories. the bounce house business, the jump off explodes, right? So then I kind of low key quit real estate and started just focusing on the jump off. We get to November, and I remember it was like November 7th, and I had a guy working for me named Matt, and we were cleaning. So him and I were in my backyard. We were cleaning all of the combos. And I remember I told him, I said, bro, just keep cleaning. I'm going to go inside and get some stuff kind of started for this Christmas light thing. Cause I told my wife that I was going to make $8,000 this year hanging Christmas lights, $8,000 in 2020. Right. She laughed at me, and I took that as fuel. I went inside. I made a Facebook page. That was it. And then I made a Facebook ad that I did myself. That was like probably all wrong, but it worked out really well. I ended up spending $100 from that Facebook ad, and it brought in $10,000. That one ad brought in $10,000 worth of work. And so what happens in 2020 is I end up getting so freaking busy that I can't do this myself. So I hired my next door neighbor's kid. He was 18 or 19, same, right? So this is Lori who gave me the idea. I hired her son. So he went on most jobs with me, and I was doing the jump off, and I was doing Christmas light installation, some myself, some with Colin, but it was very crazy. It was very hectic. And then I got so busy. My friend Brooke actually called me. So Brooke is now a co-founder of Raise with me. So she does bounce house booking, right? So that's what Raise does. But we also kind of pivoted last year, and we actually also do your Christmas light installation quotes. So Brooke or one of our reps will answer all your phone calls. We'll take all your text messages and measure all the houses, do all the mock-ups, send all the stuff, send the invoices. We basically are your office employee, and we crush. So if you guys are interested in that, go to raisebookings.com or RAZE bookings.com. Anyways, Brooke had called me and said, dude, I got to be off of work for 2 freaking weeks. I'm still getting paid, but I got COVID. I tested positive for COVID. I said, you're not off work. You just got hired. I need you. I'm literally like driving down the road trying to measure houses on my phone because I can't keep up. So then Brooke starts running the measuring of houses, the sending of invoices, etc. Me and Colin are out installing. We end up doing $21,000 that year. We did $21,000 in installations, only hanging lights out of people's attics, right? We were hanging store-bought garbage. But that was the first time where I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I was wall-to-wall busy every single day. Like, I worked 7 days a week, never had a time to myself because I was just out grinding. So we had about $21,000 in revenue, and I was just absolutely shocked. At that time, I put my own foot in my mouth, but I said, I'm only going to always install the homeowner's lights because I felt like professional Christmas lights were too expensive. I couldn't charge that, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to Mardi Gras. So Mardi Gras 2021. So which is usually in February, which is a huge deal around here. It's Christmas 2.0 around here. It's not what you guys think of. Like, it's not Girls Gone Wild. Okay. It's all very family oriented. The parades are all family oriented. There's a couple at night on Saturdays in downtown New Orleans that are not, but for the most part, it's a very family oriented thing. Well, all those got canceled. So it's almost like you canceled Christmas. And so I made the decision while I was actually in California visiting for Christmas, right? Because I'm very slow during Christmas time, that I'm going to buy some materials to do professional grade Christmas lights so I can go put up Mardi Gras colored lights, purple, green, and gold. So I probably bought, if I remember right, I bought like 1,000-foot spool and then enough bulbs, to fill that up. So 1,000 bulbs. And I started because I was using 12-inch spacing because that's all there was because the COVID shortages made it so you couldn't get 15-inch spacing. And so I then start advertising I'm doing Mardi Gras lights at the professional rate, right? Which at that time I think was probably $6 a foot, but I might have been charging $7. I was kind of back and forth because I didn't know what to charge. I didn't know what I was doing. And I started getting clients. And so I remember I got one kind of high profile client over in Metairie, which is a suburb of New Orleans. And her house was $1,400 after I measured it all out. And I sent her the quote. And my wife was like, she's going to tell you to F off. No, she said yes. And I went and did one job for $1,400. Another one comes through. It's a bar in New Orleans, a Irish bar. They didn't want Mardi Gras colored. They wanted white and green. And it was roughly the same amount, like $1,600 or something. And she fucking paid cash, dude. She paid cash. Okay, so I end up doing other houses around me. I end up doing some other houses over in New Orleans. Basically, what ensues is I didn't quite do the same amount of revenue, right? I didn't quite do 20 grand. I probably did 15 grand, 16 grand, something like that. But I did if I remember right, like 1/5 or 1/6 the amount of work for almost the same amount of money. And so at that time, I was like, yep, I'm making the switch and we're going to be commercial grade. We're going to be professional Christmas light installers. But I'm gonna try to keep all my clients from last year, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to miss out on the 20 grand I did last year. So I had this whole idea that I cooked up. I'm gonna train somebody to go install those homeowner lights, and then I'm gonna go do the professional lights. And I put together a crew. Like at this time, the jump off had grown, right? I had employees, and so I could run. I probably ran 2 crews that year. I may have ran 3. But it was very apparent very quickly that the homeowner lights were a giant headache. It's like solving a Rubik's Cube everywhere you go because they're fixed lengths. You can't cut, you can't customize. They're very hard and they're very cheap, right? I'm not charging very much for these jobs. So it's kind of the 80-20 rule. And that was the 20. And so I had made the commitment to all those people. So we did their lights. I actually took the person off of those jobs because he just couldn't do them the way I could do them because they were so fucking difficult. So then I was out there after going to install professional grade lights, doing $2,000, $3,000 jobs for the day. I would have to go do the same amount of work for, $200, $250 on somebody's house, right? But I'm a man of my word, so I stuck to my guns, and we did all of those. So that was my first Christmas installing professional grade lights in 2021. I flipped 2 clients from the cheap old way into the new way, okay, into the professional grade. I only flipped 2 clients. So all that $100,000 minus 2 clients came from new leads that we did. All right. My biggest job that year was a $5,000 house that took 2 days to go do because it was so complex. We still do it. It was just insane to go do that job, and it rained on us. It was crazy. Anyways, so my first year ever installing professional grade Christmas lights with a little bit of ladder experience that kind of did cross over, but for better or worse, my first year installing professional grade Christmas lights, we did $100,000 in professional grade Christmas lights, and then about another $20,000 in like we'll hang your lights thing. And so that was kind of where, and I actually told Michelle that I was going to do 100 grand. And when I tell you, she laughed at me when I told her I was going to do 8 grand in 2020, when I told her I was going to do 100 grand in 2021, laughed at me is an understatement, right? Because you tell your wife you're going to go do 6 figures hanging Christmas lights. They're going to look at you like you're a fucking crazy person because you sound like a crazy person. But not only did I pull it off, but I beat it. Okay. So we did 120 and not 100. So I beat it. So 100 was my crazy goal. I believe my regular goal I really, really wanted to hit was like 60. So I was kind of like, we're going to do 60. Hopefully I can hit 80. My crazy goal is 100. We ended up doing 120. That's intense, right? So then the next year, the jump off is exploding. I'm hiring guys. We're doing really, 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 really well. So that next year, so now this is kind of an interesting wake up call. Okay. That next year at the jump off, I worked 12 months, right? Hiring guys, training guys. We were running out of storage units at the time, and we did $125,000 at the jump off. So I worked 12 months hauling bounce houses and combos and water slides all over the place. And you guys need to understand, most of my audience understands that whole business, right? I worked 12 months and made the same amount of money that I made in 1 month installing Christmas lights. That's freaking crazy. That's crazy, right? So then let's get over to, I got to get my years straight here. 2021. So 2021 was the first year 100. So then 2022, I kind of figured it out. I doubled down. I was running Google ads. I had some kind of good stuff going. I had a website up, all that good stuff. That year we basically doubled. I do not remember, and I didn't go look it up in the spreadsheet, but we did somewhere in the ballpark of like 220, right? Let's just say it was 220. So we almost doubled. I dumped all the We Hang Your Own Christmas lights people. I hung no store-bought lights that year, none. I ditched them all. They were all very sad. They were all very upset. But I was like, dude, we'll come and do your house for $1,400. But the days of $200 is over because I could just go get $1,400 for the same amount of work. I tried to be as empathetic as I could, but some of those people were pissed. Some understood, but it was what it was, right? So then year 2, we do over $200,000 in Christmas lights, and it just It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was great. That same year, so it was probably about now, a little bit earlier than now, probably somewhere in early August, if I'm not mistaken. My phone rings and it says that it's Fred, right? So if you don't know who Fred is, he's very big on TikTok, and then he's a very, I guess you could call him, influential person in the Christmas light industry. He co-owns Christmas Light Contractors, which is a distributor business with another guy named Donovan. But anyway, Fred calls me out of the blue and is like, I don't know if you know who I am. I'm like, I know who you are, Fred. He said, we should do a training. We should do a training at your warehouse. I'll come to it and we kind of like work out some details. So that was the first year I ran my first ever training. I do not remember how many people were there, but the 1,500 square foot, well, no, the warehouse wasn't all the way 15. So the 1,200, 1,300 square foot warehouse was literally full of people that flew to New Orleans, drove up here, got a hotel, and sat in my dirty bounce house warehouse at my dirty rental tables and chairs. I say dirty, like obviously we clean them, but like, right, they get beat up. And they sat in a class for 8 hours and listened to me teach them how to start a Christmas light business. And it went phenomenal. There was ranging success stories, right? It's kind of one of those things where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. The best student of that one was Christopher Weed. So Christopher Weed flew out from Arizona, took that class with me. He was very insightful in the class. He had some great things to add to the class. It was phenomenal. He went back to Arizona and did 100K his first year, right? So that was the best success story. There was some people that had ranging, kind of varying. There was a $20,000 person. There was a $30,000 or $40,000 person that I had talked to. There was a couple people that did zero because they never went back and started the business, right? I can teach you everything, but you got to go do a lot of the work. I mean, you got to go do all the work. But anyways, so that was my first training. And so that whole thing is kind of how I got from my neighbor giving me the random suggestion to go hang Christmas lights to where we are now, where I have a Christmas light tattooed on my hand, right? I got a red C9 bulb. I had to do red, right? I got to do jump off red. C9 bulb tattooed on my freaking hand. Like that's in your face. That's blatant. And now I have 5 trainings this year. And then we've got to make I can talk revenue. I can talk revenue a little bit if you want to. Last year was a little bit disappointing in revenue. I did some things wrong that are fixed or being fixed for this year so we can crush this year. But for the most part, that is the story of how I got into Christmas light installation. Now I'm a professional Christmas light installer. So cheers to that. If you guys want, it's very kind of last second here, but the Christmas light trainings start next week if you guys are interested in this. It's $100 to reserve your seat. On Labor Day, I did that on purpose, but on Labor Day, we'll be in Orlando teaching you how to install Christmas lights. Then we fly to Chicago on Wednesday the 4th. Wednesday the 4th, we're in Chicago. And then I purposely put the Vegas training. It's right off the strip at it's at the Hampton. It's right off the strip, and it is on Friday. I did that on purpose because I'm gonna fly my wife in. We're gonna have a nice Vegas weekend. It's gonna be badass. But if you guys want to go to Vegas and party, you can write it all off. Just come to my Vegas training. If you guys want to go check those out, go to thejumpoffstore.com, and in the top header you'll see trainings. Boom, it's right there. So can you make $100,000 your first year? Fucking absolutely, absolutely. What you have to do in order to make that kind of money is have multiple crews, have a good website, have good Google ads, and good Facebook ads. That's the three pieces to the recipe, right? So if you do those 3 things well, you can go do 100K for sure. If you've got the guys and the trucks and the ladders and et cetera. Okay. I want to hit on real quick one of the most asked questions that I get. Actually, I'm going to hit both of the most asked questions I get. Okay. The number one most asked question that I get is, how much capital do I need to start this business? Now, here's the crazy thing about starting a Christmas light installation business. If you wanted to, you could start the business, quote unquote, tomorrow for $0, right? Now, I say $0. Yes, you're gonna have to go to WordPress and get a website. Mine's $300 a year. Mine's $300 a year. You're going to need to go and start running some ads, right? So you are going to be spending a little bit of money up front, but you don't have to go buy. so much of my audience is bounce house people, right? And so you see a business through the lens of the inflatable business, which is you got to go buy a bunch of expensive assets to be able to start renting them out. Christmas light installation is very, very different. You can go sell a job with no inventory. All you got to do is interact with the client in a way that makes them feel comfortable, and you land the job, and then you go take a deposit. So when you're brand new, I'm a big fan of 50% deposits, right? Because you're going to sell $2,000-$3,000 jobs. Our average house last year was $2,100 for new installs. The year prior, it was close. It was a little lower. It was $1,850 was our average job roughly. So you're going to go sell those big jobs. You're going to take a deposit. Like this is like a real thing. This is like a real business, right? So as soon as you start taking those deposits, now you have money coming in and you've done no work. So at that point in time, you can then go buy your materials. And I suggest, I ask nicely that you buy from me. Me and Matt and Mike, okay, we co-founded Let'sGetLitSupply.com. So we are also distributors. Our main source is Fred and Donovan from Christmas Light Contractors. They're our partner, I guess you could say. They're our distributor, right? And so we sell a lot of Minleon stuff, which is my favorite freaking brand. I have a good relationship with Minleon USA with Augie, and that's really all I like to install. And there's a lot of differing opinions out there. It's a very polarizing business, which is weird because it's Christmas and cheery, but behind the scenes, the industry of installation is a little bit cutthroat. So there's good and bad things you can read about Minleon, but it's the best. It's the best stuff. They have the most innovative stuff. That's what I love. So that's mostly what we sell because that's literally all I will use to install. But anyways, we co-founded Let'sGetLitSupply.com to be a supplier through Christmas Light Contractors, right? And so I forgot where I was. I forgot what I was talking about. But anyway, yeah, the startup capital. So is it easy to start with $0? No, hell no, it's not, because you've got to keep track of your inventory as you go, right? So you get very busy. It's like a marathon that you have to sprint for the month of November. It's very, very, very stressful. So you'll sell a job, right? And you can run these different bulb patterns, right? So you'll sell a job where they want pure white and they want red, the candy cane pattern, right? And that job is scheduled for whatever, November 15th. And you're busy, and then you get to November 13th and you're like, oh shit, I don't have any pure whites, or I got, one bag of 25 pure whites left, and you got to scramble to, you have to stay up on top of your inventory, but you didn't have to put in any of your personal capital in order to start the business. So the way, what is that called? The balance, the payoff is well worth it. Okay. So the risk is that you'll goof up your inventory, but the reward is you don't have to have any capital to start. Okay. So you can start with quote unquote $0. You start selling jobs, you start getting deposits. That's when you start buying supplies little by little. And then that's when you go buy your ladders and your ladder rack and all that kind of stuff, right? None of it's that expensive. You probably got to spend $1,000 on ladders. The ladder rack's $200. That's really kind of like the bare basics. Now there is some fancy stuff you can go buy, some pitch hoppers. We sell those at Let's Get Lit Supply. If you don't know what a pitch hopper is, go check it out on Let'sGetLitSupply.com. But for better or worse, you can start with very, very, very little capital. Now, what I suggest, however, is that you start with some capital, but you're definitely talking under 10 grand, and you're probably a little bit closer to 5 grand. So the first year that I started installing professional lights at Christmas time, I'd already done it that Mardi Gras and did really well, 16 grand or whatever I said. That Christmas was the first time that I installed professional Christmas lights at Christmas. I bought $5,000 worth of inventory with probably with Let's Get Lit money from Mardi Gras, if I remember right, but it could have been with jump off money. I don't even freaking remember. It could have been my own checking account. I don't know. And then did the inventory thing that year. Then once I had that big chunk of change in the bank account, I then bought $30,000 worth of stuff pre-season. So going into the 2022 season, going into the 2022 season, I had $30,000 worth of inventory that I didn't have to, so I didn't have to buy in season. I didn't have to like track the inventory so crazily. You still run out of random stuff, but if you've got $5,000, I suggest doing that stuff, getting some stuff early. That way you can kind of get acclimated to it. The more you can buy, the better. You don't need to buy $30,000 worth, but the more you can buy, the better, because it just kind of makes the season less stressful. But if you can manage the stress, then you can really do it with almost $0. Okay. Next most popular question I get, this is probably 1 and 1A, is how much is the insurance? So again, most of my audience is bounce house entrepreneurs. And what do they pay for liability insurance? It goes up every freaking year. Mine doubled this year. So you could be, I'm in a crappy state for insurance, but I mean, mine's going to cost me almost $14,000 for my jump off insurance, my jump off general liability. I got to sign that policy tomorrow. You're not even anywhere near that ballpark for Christmas light installation. I was working last week to try and get the last 2 weeks to get some other quotes, because I know what I pay through Next Insurance. So I carry a $500,000 policy, not $1 million policy. And through Next Insurance, I'm paying $76 a month is what they charge me. So whatever 76 times 12 is what my yearly is, but I can pay it monthly with Next. That's how they work. It's a little bit of a strange thing with Next, because it's like there's no humans that work there, so it's kind of weird. But go get some quotes, but it'll be very, very, very tolerable. So let me do 75 times 12. Let's see, $75 times 12 months a year. I'm not even $1,000 a year, dude, for my $500,000 policy. Now, if you want to carry $1 million, it's going to be more. You know, if you carry $1 million, you're probably going to be closer to $2,500, $3,000, something like that. But it's much, 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 much cheaper than inflatables, right? Because you're not putting anybody at bodily injury. I am not an insurance. Insurance actually wears me out. Like talking insurance wears me out. The other day, Alex Cosio called me. And we were just bullshitting. And when Alex talks, my brain has a hard time following everything he says, because things like insurance, like that kind of like documents wear me out. Insurance wears me out. That's why I quit being a real estate agent, because that's all it is documents and policies and laws and contracts. Like that shit just wears me out. So I am so not the insurance a resource that you need. I'm just here to tell you that it's just not that crazy. It's not that crazy. It's not inflatable. So don't worry about that. Okay. That is my little rant there. I've got some time for some questions. I got to be out of here in about 20 minutes. So if you guys have questions, jam them in the freaking comments. I'm going to go check Instagram real quick. Instagram, what up? You're the only place that I have to have on another window over here, because they don't roll into the stream. Everything else rolls into the stream. Let's see. Okay, so Jordan said that he had spent $1,200 on ladders, and I named off the 3 ladders and asked him if those are what he bought, and he said yes. So he spent $1,200 on the 3 ladders that you need. The 3 ladders that you need, 24 foot. I'm a big fan of the Werners, and the Werner ladders. All ladders are rated based on the weight you can put on them. The 225-pound rating Werner ladders have little green plastic tops. Those are the best ones. They're not super heavy, but they are nice and sturdy. Okay, so that's what I suggest you buy, in a 24-foot and a 32-foot. Those are my favorites. Then the other one that I love is the Little Giant. It's heavier than shit, but it's low, and then it extends out into high, and then it opens up and can be a regular ladder as well. It's just so versatile. It's just great. We almost always are using it in A-frame, but you can make one side shorter and put it up on stairs. So the bottom is like this and the top is shorter and it's up on stairs like that, if that makes sense. It's just very versatile. So those are the 3 ladders we have on every truck that we run. All right. So he said that's what he bought, $1,200. Okay. Next Instagram, John Harpies 7 said, I got your face tatted. Want to see? I do. If you tatted my face on your body, that'd be great. There's a couple people out there with Just Go tattoos. But if you tattooed my face, then you need to DM that to me. I need to see that. C.B Party Reynolds said, what up, Nick? What up, CB Party Reynolds? Gus Andres said, hustling every day, with 2 of these emojis. I do try to do that. I would like to go live every single day, but I've got more work to do than allows that because my businesses are in this weird spot where they're big enough to need me all the time, but not big enough to hire managers. So next year, hopefully, with some business coaching at the blocks, I'm in a business coaching or maybe consulting called betablocks.com if you're interested. But they're badass. And so hopefully next year they'll with their help, I can get to a point where I can hire a manager and do lives more often. But anyways, all right, let's jump over to some of the questions that we got across where I'm streaming, which is Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. Yeah, if you guys are Twitchers, if you're gamers and you're on Twitch all the time, go follow me on Twitch. All of these streams are always live on Twitch. And I know that it's a less busy place than all the other social media places. So if you're not a social media person, but you have Twitch, go follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.com /Nico Glass. Could be underscores in there. I'm not totally sure. Okay, first one is from YouTube. MT from YouTube says, how to learn /start mowing comfortably on steep roofs. I don't know. He got auto corrected there, but oh yeah, let me put this up. Mowing comfortable on steep roofs as a beginner without experience. What equipment need? Cougar Paws, pitch hopper, go a steep assist. That's a good question. So yeah, you're gonna have to. You're not on roofs all that often, so it's a common misconception that you're on roofs all the time. But you got to go do some dormer windows. You got to jump up there, right? It's 10% of the job, maybe. I don't know. It's very, very low quantity, but you got to get on roofs. So yes, there is some crazy effective tools out there. So the first one he asked about was Cougar Paws. Worst freaking name for a company ever. Don't know why they called them that. But basically what it is, it's a boot, right? So it looks like a roofer boot, but then the sole of it Velcro's off so you can buy new ones, but the sole of it is this squishy pad, like this squishy foam pad. So if you can walk on the roof with flat feet, you are glued to the shingles. Cougar Paws are great when you're a beginner. I didn't even put mine on one time last year. Nobody in my entire company. They just sat in my truck and I never used them. I was in running shoes every day. I don't like Cougar Paws. They're big. They're clunky. They slow me down because I got to go put them on. You can't keep them on because you can't walk around on concrete and asphalt and garden beds in them. So if you're a newbie, they might be a good idea. So you can kind of get your sea legs, so to speak, underneath you. They're expensive. They were $120 when I bought mine back in 2021. So they're probably 150, 160, but I don't freaking know what they cost. They're expensive, but they will help you feel more comfortable up there. The other two things he asked about was a pitch hopper. Yes, pitch hopper for the win. Last year we had one pitch hopper in every truck. My truck had two. So basically what that is, it's kind of like a Cougar Paw. It's got this crazy foam piece on it, and then it's a triangle. And so then the triangle the foam piece sits on the roof and makes a nice flat workspace for you. You can use two of them and get around a roof really well. I'm obsessed with the pitch hopper. I break it out all the freaking time. It's quick, it's easy, and it's super stable. There's a video of me on TikTok jumping on a roof, and I'm jumping on top of a steep roof on my pitch hopper. They're fantastic. And then the other one he said was the GOAT Steep Assist, or for short, we call it the GOAT hook. Yeah, those are fantastic too. We have three of them. Each truck has one in it. What we do is we put them all together and they just stay on the ladder rack. They're kind of expensive. They're about $1,200 a pop, I believe, but they are awesome. So basically what you do is it's a hook with a wheel on it like this. All right. And so you flip it over and you run that wheel up the roof, and then it hooks on the top of the roof where the roof is like this, right? Hooks up there at the top, at the peak. And then it's a pole that comes down that has handles that double as footholds. So you can use it like a ladder. So basically what I'll do if I'm going to do dormer windows. So a dormer window is where the roof is, right? The roof comes across like this. You're going to do lights across the gutter. And then there's two little windows up on top of the roof. That's called a dormer window. So I'll run that goat hook up, hook it, and then climb up there to get to the dormer windows. And it's safe. You're comfortable. You're not holding on to dear life. And then you're not standing on their shingles, ruining their roof because you're on your goat hook. So goat hook, yes. Pitch hopper, yes. We sell pitch hoppers at letsgetletsupply.com. And then Cougar Paws, up to you. They're expensive, but they'll help you as a newbie. Raymundo said, sup, man? What up, Raymundo? Corey Silux said, Little Giant, baby. Yeah, yeah, I love the Little Giants. We might have 4 of them. I bought an 18-footer last year to kind of test it out. It's too short. Get the 22. Do not get the 24. It weighs 1,000,000 pounds. My buddy Colin has one, and I borrowed it, not for Christmas legislation, for something totally different. And I was like, holy, it's so heavy. It's insane. MT said, so all work from ladders. I wouldn't say all, but predominantly from ladders. Yes. My buddy John on LinkedIn. John, what the hell is up, dude? It is good to see your face, and it is good to see your name. He said Journeys for Life. We both used to work there a long time ago. We had a lot of good times at Journeys. A lot of drunken times, but a lot of good times. So, John, hello, John. I saw Lindsay posted something the other day that she turned 40 or maybe not quite 40, and there was all these posts, and I saw you guys and your kids. So it looks like you guys are doing awesome. So it's good to hear from you, John. Let's see. Raimundo said, how long do you leave the lights on the house? So that's a good question. So basically what you want to do is you schedule jobs. You want to slam them in as fast as you can, because the roughly 10-ish days closest to Thanksgiving is when you're just insanely busy. So you want to keep that open. So you get a quote that comes through, you close the job, go hang that sucker on November 5th. So that way you can keep the later part of the month open. So you're slamming jobs forward as fast and hard as you can. Do you want to pay the overtime labor for your guys to work 7 days a week to go over 40 hours to slam those jobs in? That's a decision you have to make. It really depends on how busy you're going to be. Last year, I did not do that, and it was the right move because we were perfectly busy all the way throughout. The year prior, I slammed everything way too hard. I paid so much money in overtime, and it was not really necessary, but it just kind of depends on how aggressive you're going to be with your marketing. Dusty Evo on YouTube said peace. So what up? If I do a piece long enough, I think I give you guys balloons or something. Nope, not going to work. Okay, next one was from Cody Smith. He says, I want to do it. Cody, where do you live? Tell me where you live. Come to my Christmas light training. I do have something to tell everybody. I am a very, 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 very shitty event planner, because what I was talking about earlier kind of wears me out, dude. Like all the details wear me out. The lunches and shit wears me out. So from that aspect, it's never very organized. But once the class starts at 9 a.m., from that point forward, it's fucking fantastic. I will cram your head with all of the information that you need. I will inspire you. I do all the things. And and then this year, all 5 of the trainings that I've got going on, Matt Billington, who's one of my co-founders at letsgetlitsupply.com, he's going to be at all of them. Most of you guys probably know him from Big and Bright Inflatables. He's the owner of Big and Bright. Oliver, my buddy Oliver from the South Shore over in Kenner, said he's scared of heights. I get that sometimes too. And basically my reply is, I mean, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 to get up on a ladder. Like, yeah, I don't know. Everybody's different. I'm not scared of heights, so I don't have empathy for it. But it's I don't know. It's not that scary. That's all. That's not that scary. Christian Reynolds over on Facebook said, thoughts on a bucket truck or a lift. So there's varying opinions on this. I'm going to side probably on the most anti of those opinions on the bucket truck and the lift. There's people that absolutely love and are obsessed with them, and they rent one for the entire month and they tow it with them everywhere they go. I'm the opposite. So basically we do have a few jobs that require a lift where you got to have one. You do, because the house is so big and so treacherous, or the bushes are so robust and the house is so tall that the ladders, it's just a nightmare. So what I do is I do rent a lift for, generally speaking, last year I think I rented it twice, but generally speaking, I try to rent a lift for one weekend, and then all those reinstalls that need that lift go there. It goes about a week. They all go about a week before Thanksgiving. So that way, if we sell any other jobs that need the lift, they can go on that weekend. And it does make life easy on the really big stuff. What I will say about a lift, though, is, right, you get a towable articulating lift. The one that we rent is 60 feet. It goes up 60 feet tall. It's kind of slow. It's a much slower process. And if you can do the work from a ladder, it's much, 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 much more efficient and cheaper and easier and just better. The bucket truck is interesting. I know Fred may have 2, if I remember right, but I know he has at least 1. And basically what he did was he bought himself a bucket truck, and that's the install vehicle for one of his crews or his crew, maybe. I don't remember the whole story, but what you can do with a bucket truck that's super cool is you can get to some of those high treacherous areas, right? As long as you can park it, in the lawn or on the driveway, and it'll help you with those treacherous jobs. It's not as versatile as a tow behind 60-foot articulating lift, but you have it if you need it. But what Fred uses his bucket truck for is to upsell trees. So if you're going to wrap a big tree, they're very, very, very expensive, right? So think, the reason I'm not for this is because we don't have these kind of trees here. Like, this is not something I could do down here because we don't have like those big pine trees that look like a Christmas tree. They just don't grow here in New Orleans, or we don't have them. Our pine trees are, 80 feet tall and don't have branches until 60 feet. So we don't really do these. But if you're in a place that has those pine trees, you can use that bucket truck to go upsell the tree. And the tree alone is going to be, I've never done one because we don't have them here, but the tree alone is going to be $1,500 to $4,000. And if it's really big, I've seen $12,000 trees. I've seen $12,000 jobs done on a pine tree. So he uses the bucket truck basically to do those jobs and to upsell those jobs, because with the bucket truck, they're so easy that he can upsell them and just make a ton of revenue. All right. David Banda from Facebook says, I'm assuming hello from West Virginia. Hello from West Virginia. And then that is all the questions that we have in that chat. I'm going to go check over on Instagram. If you guys have questions, jam them in. I got to get out of here in like 5 minutes. So if you guys have questions, please hit me up. But yeah, so anyways, I'm just going to go through and do a shameless plug of myself. So if you guys want to go to my Christmas light trainings, there's 5 stops. Same again. Orlando on Labor Day. I got to check my note. Chicago is September 4th. Vegas is Friday, September 6th. So you can have a write-off vacation. Then I take a week off. And then the 17th is Dallas. That's a Tuesday. The 19th is a Thursday. And that is Houston. If you guys want to come to that, it's $100 to reserve your seat. Go to thejumpoffstore.com. And in the header, you'll see trainings. All of them are in there. If you want to bring your spouse with you, if you want to bring your co-founder with you, it's only an extra $100 flat to bring the co-founder. So do that. And I'll teach you how to do all of this stuff. Here we go. Latoya McCalla over on YouTube said, we'll be in Dallas, baby. Yeah, the Dallas one's going to be super cool. So Let's Get Lit Supply is run, I would say, 98% out of Dallas. And so you guys will be at our warehouse. It's also the Big and Bright inflatable warehouse. So it's both. And so that's where that meeting is going to be. So you'll get to see. So if you're in the inflatable industry, right, you'll get to meet Matt. You'll get to see his Bigfoot dollies. You'll get to see his Big Bad Wolf blowers. And then, of course, his Big and Bright inflatables. He'll have at least one up out back you can kind of check out. And you can kind of tour the whole thing, right? And then you can see the Let's Get Lit Supply operation as well. And then he's got a swanky little conference room where the meeting will be, and he's got these like dope little gamer chairs that we all sit in. It's good. It's good. It's a fun time. If you guys have any questions about the training, DM me. I'm easier to get to on Instagram. It's less of a busy place, but I answer everything that I get on Facebook Messenger as well. So if you have questions about the training, please just ask. I understand that I'm sitting in this chair telling you about how great they are, and also telling you that they're $800. And so you want to know what you're going to get for $800, right? So, and that's not including travel, lodging, all that good stuff. And my classes are all one day. What I do is I take out the first kind of day of the class, which is how to start a business. Well, it's 2 things. It's number 2, how to start a business, but it's number 1, like, it's always like filled with this motivational, inspirational, like, it only is going to work if you work and like you get out to it, what you get into it. Like, every single person but one that's ever come to my Christmas light trainings already has a business. So I omit all of that so I can pack into a day how to start the business, how to bid the jobs, how to win the clients, how to start the what CRM to use, which is Jobber. Oh, you can't see my Jobber hat. I have a Jobber hat right there. All that good stuff is all the class. So it's just the meat. So I put it in one day because I don't want to have you guys have to come out and buy all these hotels and all this food and everything, when I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, I can fit it in one day and you can leave and be mega, ultra, super duper successful. Is every single possible detail covered? No, dude, no. You're a business owner. There's no way I can cover every single detail, and you know that because you're already a business owner. Okay, any last second questions? I'm going to check my notes too because I had a whole bunch of different things that I was going to bring up. But I ran out of time, which I knew I was going to. Let's see. Who answers the phone and measures the houses? I kind of answered that already. So I hired that outside. I brought in an employee. So I have an employee that does that. Her name is Cassie. If you've watched any of these lives, you've heard me talk about Cassie a lot, right? But she does all of the office work. And then Cassie changed my life so much so I talked Brooke into quitting her job and coming over with me and co-founding Raise. So if you want, you can hire Raise to do that. Raise bookings with an S.com. Let's see. How do you measure houses? Google Earth. What's the best place to buy from? Let's get litsupply.com. How do I know if I measured correctly before sending the bid? You kind of don't. I do have a whole formula that I go over in the class to basically have kind of checks and balances of how to make sure that you do that correctly. So basically you go do your first job and then you use my system to check and balance yourself so you know if your other jobs are going to be done correctly. Here's another very famous question that I get is, and I don't know why I worded it like this, but dude, there's no one around me doing this. I'm going to be rich. Okay. If you go start looking up if there's Christmas light installation businesses near you in July, guess what? They're all not doing Christmas light installation. They're very hard to find. Okay. If you're in a major metropolitan area, you'll be able to go find some. If you're in an area like me, it's hard to find them. So you're like, holy shit, I'm the only one doing this. And then you get to November 1st and all of a sudden there's 6 other competitors. It's because they popped their heads out the woods. They started marketing when the business is there. And that's now you've got competition. Will you still be able to do all of everything I just said? Yes, dude, absolutely. This is such a booming industry. It's crazy. It's just, I don't know how else to word that. You'll be fine, but just don't go thinking you're the only one doing this in your area. Is there a couple people that I've met that actually are the only person that does this in their area and they clean up? Yes, that also does happen. Okay, the opposite of that. Dude, there's so many other companies by me. I'm worried I won't get jobs. You will. Christmas is so much more emotional and so much bigger than you could ever imagine until you have a business in Christmas. You just won't understand it. You'll have a rich client with a house that's so big, the only person that put Christmas that can do it is you. And they pay you $4,000 with tears in their eyes and they hug you. You'll be just fine. It doesn't matter. The only thing that I am very, very passionate about teaching is do not whatsoever be the guy that comes in and thinks you're going to charge less money and do more. All you're doing is killing yourself. All you're doing is undercutting your profits. And all you're doing is bringing the entire industry down. Don't come in and think you can come in and charge what everybody else charges. There's enough work that everybody's going to be just fine. Okay, next most popular question that I get is, I'm in a poor area. There's not a lot of people with money around here. It's blue collar. Yeah, none of those people are hiring you, but I promise you there is plenty of doctor offices that are owned by a doctor who's wealthy. I promise you there's plenty of law offices, especially the injury lawyer guy, right? That they can all hire you. I promise you have car lots that have rich owners of those car lots that will want you to do their house and may want you to do their car lot. I promise you have a Chick-fil-A. Which Chick-fil-A's are kind of the quintessential or the cliche one that they go big for Christmas. But I promise you, no matter where you live, you have wealthy business owners that have big houses and they don't want to put their Christmas lights up, or they don't have time and they're happy to pay you. You're going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. You don't know what lights to buy. Warm white is the most popular by far. Every area is a little bit different. So last year in Dallas, Mike and Matt co-own a Christmas light installation business in Dallas, and they install pure white like crazy. I don't know. I don't do much pure white at all. They do a ton. It's going to be different for your area, but generally speaking, classic warm white, right? These are rich people. They want classy. They want beauty. Okay, I get the question, do you guys program them to lights or to sound? No, that shit's tacky. These are rich people, dude. These are rich people in mansions. They want beautiful, warm white lights on their house and in their bushes and their trees wrapped, all that good stuff, okay? Let's see. All the other questions are kind of a little bit off in the weeds that we don't need to get into. So anyways, so there's the crazy story of how I got into Christmas light installation. Art Smith over on Instagram said, what up, Art? And then Helio Bautista gave me the flex emoji. So what up, Helio? So anyways, there's the crazy story of how I got into it. And if you are interested, it is kind of 2 minutes to midnight, but we can get you into one. We have seats available at all of my trainings. So go to thejumpoffstore.com and click on trainings at the top. You'll see all the stops in there, and you can go put your $100 deposit down and come hang out with me. And then after the class, I'm traveling. I had to go out for dinner. You're more than welcome to come eat dinner with me. And we'll drink a couple tequilas at dinner. We can talk about inflatables. We can talk about Christmas lights. We can talk about whatever you want. It's going to be a good time. And then if you're coming to Vegas, after the Vegas class, my wife will be in town already. And so we're going to probably go out to dinner, but my wife is badass. You guys are more than welcome to come to that dinner too, right? It's not going to be some romantic thing. I'm a man of the people, so I will more than gladly hang out with you in Vegas. And I haven't been to Vegas since I was 25, so I'm going to be having a good time. And then we're staying the weekend at the MGM. That's where we're staying. Going to Cirque du Soleil, and then we'll figure out what the hell we're up to. We'll do a pool day. We'll do all sorts of cool shit. So, anyways, all right, that's Booze and Biz. There it is. That's Booze and Biz. Nice and tight, even though that was an hour. And then I got a spritzer back here. These are fucking cool. That's a custom made one. That's Mardi Gras colors, but we hang those for Christmas as well. In white, obviously. But okay. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Those of you on YouTube and podcasts, you guys know what to do. Please subscribe. I'm publishing about 2 podcasts a week right now. So if you don't know where that is, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's everywhere. It's called Just Go with Nick Glassett. So if you are a podcast listener and you didn't know I had a podcast, go do that. And then I'm going to get out of here. They just opened. I'll tell this funny, quick fucking story before we get off. So where we live is very boring, right? I don't live in New Orleans. I live in this like suburb outside that's just houses. It's very boring. And we just finally got a Costco yesterday. So I'm from the West Coast. So Costco's in my blood. And so I've had no Costco basically in the 14 years that I've lived in Louisiana. I basically had no Costco, and they finally opened right over there about 5 miles away. And so tonight I'm going to go home and we're doing a family trip to Costco. It's going to be wildly underwhelming, I'm sure, but we're going to go buy some fucking Kirkland stuff. It's going to be badass. So, okay, subscribe to all this stuff. Thanks for coming to the live. I will see you tomorrow. Friday? Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I'll see you tomorrow for Friday with Friends. I have a 12 o'clock meeting, so it might be at 11 at Central. It might be at 1 Central. It might be at 1:30 Central. I know it kind of depends on Mike's schedule too, but we do a live tomorrow. Called Friday with Friends, where we just shoot the shit. We have no notes. We don't really do anything. It's with Mike Bissell. He is the VP of Bounce House Atlanta. I don't know the revenue that they do. I just always say $6 million, but they do about $6 million a year, doing mostly bounce houses, and then they have some hard rides too. So me and Mike will have Friday with Friends tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for the little notification on your phone for Friday with Friends tomorrow. It's a sober show, unfortunately, because it's kind of early in the day, but I'll probably be drinking tea or something. And then my wife just texted me, are you coming home first? Or are you meeting us at Costco? So I got to get out of here. But I love you guys. Peace out. Love you. I said love you twice. That's fine.